Welcome to the picturesque Tyrolean town of Bad Haring near Kufstein for the 5th event on the 2004 World Strongman Cup. A visit from the World Strongman Cup was one of the highlights of the summer season in Bad Haring, and despite the rainy weather, the locals turned out in force for the welcoming parade on day one of the event. Well, all of the stars of the tour are here to try and make yet more points in the overall competition. The only man missing is Antanas Abrutis, recovering from surgery to his leg after an injury at the last event in Plattling, Germany. Hope to see him later in the season. But in the meantime, can the likes of Mitt and Staroff, Pedan or Glen Ross win here in Bad Haring? Or will it come down to the Austrian crowd favourite and their hero, Ralph Baer? Well, Ravis Vidsis of Latvia will be hoping that he can stay on top of the pile. On to the first event, the truck bull. Yes, believe it, it's a truck weighing 12 tonnes. They've got 90 seconds to drag it the length of this 20-metre course. Peter Carnot, 42 years old, the veteran really on this tour. The guy that is much better known as a bodybuilder in Germany. And when you get a front-on shot of this man pulling the truck, there it is. Wow, he is enormous. And Carnot giving a good account of himself here, little slip, but looking for a good time in this competition, and he's really got the bit between his teeth. This is a good performance from Carnot, dispenses with the rope and drives across the line. And you'll notice that the truck driver gets his brakes on pretty quickly when they get to the finish. So next up, Ravis Vidsis of Latvia. Ravis, the tour leader, and it's an incredible performance from him, really. He hasn't won a single event yet, but he places well all the time. This man is third in just about all the disciplines and all the events that he goes to, and the amount of points that he wins from that has put him to the top of the table. Well, it looked like a slow start from Vidsis, but now the steps coming thick and fast as he goes across the line. Yeah, it's all over. That's a good performance from Vidsis, a lot better than I think he expected. The crowd look on expectantly because this is a man who could take this event. 26 years old, Igor Pedan of Russia, the man with those massive quads, huge legs. And I thought this would benefit Pedan in this event, but he's just taking a little time to get the 12-ton truck on the roll. Once he's got it going, though, I think he'll be able to keep the momentum of that truck. This is it, he's got it going, but I think he's got it going a little too late. And Igor Pedan won't take the truck pull. Ralph Baer, listen to the roar from the crowd. 132 kilograms now, Baer, so he's put on a little weight for this season, and I think that will serve him well. The 32-year-old marching it out. This is a good performance from him. Always been consistent in the truck pull, has Ralph Baer. Again, the rope gone, and he's sprinting across the line. What a performance from Baer. Oh, but problems at the end. The Austrian pulls up with what looks like a hamstring, and don't say that the injury curse has now struck another of the strongman competitors. Well, Ralph Baer's hopefully going to be okay, but it looks like he might have to withdraw from this event. Next up then, the man that exploded onto the tour this year, had a couple of really good performances, Glen Ross of Ireland. Since then, hasn't placed quite as well as he would have liked. And the man that likes to shout, "Who's the daddy?" at the end of each of his events, is proving here that he's back on form. Well, a quite upright stance from Ross, just to show you how easily he's moving that truck. And as with all the competitors, very tired as he comes across the line, just checking on the timings. And Ross has put a good performance in there. Now, this is the other man that I mentioned, Tarmo Mitt from Estonia. The problem for Tarmo with his height will be how quickly he can get the momentum on the truck moving. But I think if we can get this going, his long stride pattern and fast leg movement will be a benefit. Look at this, he's flying. And Tarmo Mitt gasping for breath as he comes to the line. Well, he never stopped trying in that one and pulled the truck over the line with relative ease. What a performance from Tarmo Mitt of Estonia. And confirmation, he takes the 11 points from Glenn Ross in that first event. Ralph Baer, injury and all, finished in third with 9. Now the next event, once again, very traditional in strongman circles. The power stairs, ascending weights, 200, 230, 250 kilograms. And they have to be moved right up to the top of the podium. Mitt versus Ross. It's a direct head-to-head competition, but in the end, it's the overall time from each competitor that goes through, and the fastest wins. Now, Glenn Ross freely admits that in these strongman competitions, he doesn't really favour the stopwatch events, but that's the way of strongman these days. Not only do you have to be strong and powerful, you have to be fast, and Ross just proving that he's all of those. And Tarmo Mitt having a strong tussle with the weight there, but just can't get it to the top in time. So Glenn Ross looking good. Igor Pedan just struggled a little in the truck pull, and I was surprised about that. Up against the old warhorse, Gregor Peshka. Now, Peshka is always good across the first 2 weights, but then he struggles a little on the third. Pedan, whose upper body strength isn't quite in line with that of his legs, will also have a few problems here. There goes the 250 up to the top, and Igor Pedan celebrates and waits for Gregor Peshka to finish. So the next pairing up onto the power stairs, Ravis Vidzis and Mikkel Starov. Now, you want speed and power, it's these two guys. Mikkel Starov still smarting from the fact that Vidzis leads this tour, the tour that he won in 2003, and Starov determined he's going to get back after that terrible injury to his shoulder. And back he comes. This is good stuff from Starov. That is amazing. Mikkel Starov in supreme form on the power stairs, the event he loves, and the 11 points.
It's an amazing...
On to the first of our medleys. There will be 2 medleys at this particular event in Bad Haring, near Kufstein. And to start this medley off, it's the truck spring. What a murderous implement this is. 178 kilograms, the weight's bad enough, but look at the shape. And it's already causing problems for Boris Milosevic. Not such a problem for Danis. Richard Danis, an experienced campaigner now in the World Strongman Cup. Throws it onto the sled, and this weighted sled now has to be dragged. And Milosevic is in danger here of not even completing the medley. And the problem that he has is once the spring's down on the floor, it's nigh on impossible to pick up. And Danis has met some problems with the sled pull here, trying to get it across the line. And Danis below par. Maybe he spent too long in the spa. Well, that really hurt. And a minimal celebration from Danis. Every muscle in his body really screaming out towards the end of that medley. Ralph Baer, Tarmo Mitt, delighted to say that Baer's hamstring injury was just a tweak. Now, Tarmo Mitt has been a medley superstar so far, handling the truck spring with brutal efficiency, dumps it onto the sled. But the problem that Mitt has is his height makes it difficult for him to get down low enough to get enough force into the sled. And you can see, already struggling, and Baer just breezes past. Well, some heavy strapping actually around the lower leg of Ralph Baer, so the suggestion that maybe it wasn't a hamstring and maybe a calf pull, and Tarmo Mitt chucked the towel in. Doesn't like this medley event at all, and the Estonian stalks away. And, well, if I was the cameraman, I'd get out there quick. Now, Mikkel Starov against Igor Pedan. And Starov is struggling with the truck spring. This is a bit of an embarrassment for the former champion, and he's dropped it. That could have been very nasty indeed, and we've already seen with Milosevic, if it's down, it stays down. So Starov out of this medley, and Pedan is working like a Trojan to drag that sled across the line. Good stuff from the Russian. No wonder he looks pleased. Well, what a performance from Mikkel Starov. I didn't think he would ever get that truck spring off the floor, but 178 kilograms driven up. And he walks it down the course to the sled. The Ukrainian showing some guts here in Bad Haring, and the crowd love it. Good response from the Austrian crowd. And that is a massive performance from Mikkel Starov. He's not going to win it, but he's going to win a lot of fans. Now, next up, Glenn Ross and Ravis Vidzis. Remember, Vidzis likes to place well in as many disciplines as he can, and that's taken him to the top of this leaderboard. Glenn Ross, though, tough competitor. Now, watch what Glenn Ross does here. Well, he's moving a little slowly to the sled, but he tends to just grab hold of it and go. Vidzis using the harness around his body. And Ross, who normally comes through like a steam train, is out of salts, I think. Ravis Vidzis just confirming he has finished before he shouts. That's the last thing you'd want to do, start celebrating before you've actually got over the line. And Glenn Ross just hasn't looked like the athlete that he looked at the start of the season. Disappointment for him, but a good performance from the World Tour leader, Vidzis. Vidzis and Pedan, joint winners of the World Series. Next up then, the Atlas Stones familiar strongman event, but it's a real specialist event, and it can catch some of the big boys out. Boris Milosevic of Slovenia up against Milan Jovanovic of Serbia and Montenegro. Now, these two guys, not familiar names on this tour, but they're consistent performers week in, week out. It's a good effort from Milosevic. Just 2 stones left for him now. Impressive performance. And if he can get this stone up, oh, such a shame. The 1.2 metre platform just too high for him in the end. Richard Danis, Mikkel Starov. Well, this will be an interesting one. The thing with Danis is he's fast over the first couple of stones, but he struggles over the last 3. And sometimes the weight and his height just count against him. Starov, all brute force, using his years of powerlifting experience. Can he drive the basketball up? Well, what a performance from Danis. And that is easily his best Atlas Stone performance of the season, if not of his career. Oh, nearly a mistake from Mitt. Mitt's performance in the Atlas Stones in Plattling was nothing short of genius. And he's doing it again. If he gets the basketball up, this is another monster performance from the big Estonian. And how about that? Shaking his head because he's disappointed. And Peshka, obviously been inspired by Danis. He's going to force it up, is he? Oh, I've never seen this. He's used absolutely every part of his body to try and push the basketball up. But it's down. But everybody going well in the Atlas Stones at the moment, and I think the atmosphere has had a lot to do with it at this competition. The performers like nothing better than getting a reaction from the crowd. Pedan from Russia, nearest the camera, has done so well at this event. Ravis Vidzis from Latvia, the tour leader at the far end, and they're going stone for stone at the moment. This is great stuff. Who's going to get the last one up first? It's Pedan. That is a phenomenal time, and they're going to have to make the stones heavier. These guys are just getting too good. Confirmation of the result. Pedan wins another one, 11 points to him, ahead of Vidzis. Tomo Mitt has to settle for 3rd. Now, this next event is a new one, the squats, but as you've guessed already, 230 kilograms. It's heavy. It's a car axle with the wheels, hoisted off the forklift truck, and then once in position, off they go. The competitors have to make as many squats as they can, and this, you have to say, is going to suit the powerlifters. The likes of Pedan and Starov must be licking their lips at this event. Well, Jovanovic, good effort from him, but this is proving very heavy indeed for Milosevic of Slovenia. They've had a couple of really good head-to-head tussles at this competition so far. That axle will be starting to cut into the shoulders now of Jovanovic. And Milosevic hasn't moved for a while. In fact, the only movement he's going to make is to drop it on the floor. And Jovanovic, he too calls it a day. So good performance from Jovanovic, but just shows you how tough this event is. Now Danis up against Peshka, the buddies, best buddies on this tour. How well are they going to perform in this? Well, Danis has called it a day already, and I'm not surprised. He makes 4.5. Peshka drops it, and on the same score. The two pals settle for the same thing. Now, this is the guy that I was tipping at the start of this event, the powerlifter supreme, up against Glenn Ross of Great Britain. Ross has also got the right sort of frame and attitude for this one, and Starov is flying. Well, this is a brilliant performance from the Ukrainian. Glenn Ross just taking it a little easier. And surely Starov will win this event if he keeps working like this. Ross, typical of the man, determined not to give in. 235 kilograms. I mean, that's bad enough to try and squat that sort of mass on a Smith machine with support. To try and do this as a free weight, just awesome. Oh, Ross is in trouble. Oh my goodness, the big man's down. That could have been dangerous, and I don't think the weight spotters understood what he was trying to say. He was telling them he needed help. And luckily, no injuries to Glenn Ross, but that could have been very nasty indeed. But Starov with an amazing performance, confirmed as the 11-point winner. Ross.
It's an amazing...
Children just queuing up after the events for the autographs. Peter Carnell is one of them that they want. Fascinated by the size of the man. Now, medley 2. It's going to be even more demanding, if that's possible, than the first. They start with the log lift. Danis up against Jovanovic. Straight through with the 2 log lifts, and Danis has just let that drop down into the tyre flip zone, and the competitors will be delighted about the fact they only have to flip the tyre once. That's where Arbrutis had a nasty injury to his quadricep muscle in Flatling. He's on his way back to form after surgery. Danis going well onto the barrels, and this is an absolute lung buster. Well, rarely do the medleys go on for this long. Danis throws the beer barrels up, and yeah, there are more barrels to shift. Well, these boys are going to know it at the end of this day. It's been a long competition, and Danis shows his credentials in the medley. Good speedy work from him. Now Tarmo Mitt at the far side, up against Gregor Peshka of Poland. Peshka with his bandana on, trying to look the part. But can he be the part? Well, it's not a bad start, but already one of the guys that performs well in the medley has gone off fast. Tarmo Mitt struggled with the wheel flip, but gets it over first time. Peshka also looking for a purchase to roll that wheel. He's done it, but I think Mitt's got this one, and now Mitt has to concentrate on beating the time of Danis. He's got to keep the pace up here. Goes for the second set of barrels. And Mitt coming up for a quick finish, but it's going to be close to the time of Danis, and Tarmo Mitt decides to take a seat. Igor Pedan of Russia, far side. Glenn Ross, after that pretty scary fall in the squat, looks okay. He flips the wheel, but he's struggling here to keep up with the pace of Pedan, and Pedan is the new star emerging on this tour, the Russian, looking superb. Those barrels may look small, but they're massive, and Ross deciding to go one at a time. Interesting tactic from Ross. And he's catching Pedan. Can Pedan get these 2 barrels up quicker than Ross can? The last one for Pedan is on. And Glenn Ross misses out in another event and threw the last barrel on with some anger. It's not been a good competition for Glenn Ross in Bad Haring. Igor Pedan, on the other hand, is delighted. So the 2 men that could take this one away from Danis and Pedan and Mitt, Starov and Vidzis. Vidzis just a little canny look across at Starov to see how well his competitor is going. The wheel flip. It's desperately important they get this one right, and it's Vidzis that has got the better tactics, so he gets to go for the weights that are closer. Vidzis driving it along. Starov on the farmer's walk, catching him. This is a good one. Now, who will have the better technique with the barrels? Again, an interesting decision to split them. Vidzis with 2 left to go. Starov with 2 left. It's going to be Vidzis. Whoa, finally, Ravis Vidzis puts a big performance in. And he has every chance of staying at the top of the world rankings by the end of this competition. And he's responded well, has Ravis Vidzis. Confirmation then of the second medley results, and Vidzis does indeed pick up the 11 points over Starov. Pedan in third. But here is the winner. Igor Pedan takes his first ever title on the World Strongman Cup. And that's an impressive performance for Ravis Vidzis in second place. Does enough to keep his spot at the top of the World Cup standings ahead of Glenn Ross. But congratulations to Igor Pedan of Russia. He takes the event. That's all from this World Strongman Cup programme. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.